You know you're on the overseas highway between the Florida mainland and Key Largo when you see the aqua-colored concrete wall on the left, which separates the southbound lanes from the northbound ones. Before that wall was put in, this stretch of US 1 was very dangerous with many head-on collisions. From this point at 126 miles from the mile zero point in Key West, Florida, and I'm going to be making a return visit to the southernmost city in the contiguous United States. It's another warm day in South Florida. The high temperatures are in the low 80s, and the low temperatures in Key West will probably be about 75 degrees. It rarely gets cooler than that even during winter. Now mile marker 107, the last stretch of highway was 19 miles. But I've now arrived in the Keys, and more specifically, I'm in Key Largo. We had it all, just like Boogie and Bacall. Starring in our own Late Late Show, sailing away to Key Largo. Here's looking at you, kid. Missing all the things we did. We can find it once again. I know. Just like they did in Key Largo. Hey guys, it's Emily. Welcome everyone! I had a great time down in the Keys in late May and early June of 2023, but I missed a few things. So in this video, I'll check out some of the things I missed in the middle and upper Keys. I might revisit a couple places, but I don't want this to turn into an MP to the last video. So let's take off another great visit to the Keys. Let's go! My first stop is just south of mile marker 98 in the median of US 1. This is a very large tourist destination called Shell World. I drove by this store a few months ago. Owner Jim Waterman, a lifelong resident of the Florida Keys, opened Shell World in 1972. This business started as a gas station called Jimmy's American Gift and Gas. His first sale was a ceramic chicken. When the store opened, Waterman worked 15 hours a day, every day. A few years later, the business moved to its current location when this large tract of land was available for sale. Shell World expanded a couple of times in the 1980s, and also US 1 was widened to 4 lanes. Some of Shell World's best sellers are t-shirts, and they have a large selection of t-shirts as well as other clothing. I was here for about 30 minutes and there was a constant stream of customers. They also have a wide variety of home decor. They have anything you need to decorate your home. There are a lot of quirky signs and interesting collections of books, like People I Want to Punch in the Face, ideas on how to be less condescending. Trying to make protein shakes, but they all keep coming out as margaritas. Oh my goodness. This book titled F That, An Honest Meditation. These look like mushroom lamps, and there's more pillows and books and other goodies over there. But you figure since this is Shell World, they would sell a wide variety of shells, and take a look at this boat full of shells. They have many different shapes, sizes, and colors of shells here. They're all cleaned and I think they're polished as well. A big selection of starfish also, and these seashell necklaces remind me of the necklace I got at the Hawaiian Luau. There's a very large section of the store dedicated to shells. I wonder where they get all those shells. Did they come from the Atlantic Ocean near here? If you're looking to decorate your house with a beach type theme, this is a great place to buy some of these beautiful shells. Also, this is a great place if you're a shell collector. I'm not kidding. There are shells and buckets full of shells. Shell World is a very large store and you definitely want to take your time to look around. There are even large jars full of little shells. Here's more of these little shell necklaces and some pouches or small coin purses. I think these are sand dollars. Let me know by leaving a comment. there's a shelf full of these things. Wow, look what's on these shelves. I'm not sure why anyone would want to buy an alligator head, but there's sure a lot of them. There's a lot of Key Largo merchandise as well, a lot of salt life, beach life, slow life stuff. Over here, some tumblers that say, "Let's get naughty." NAUTI. Some more Florida Keys themed t-shirts, coffee mugs, pillows, towels, greeting cards, and pictures. And more beach themed items, more mugs, and more books. And also this sign, "The ocean is where I belong." There's also a few shells of these ceramic turtles. Mostly smaller sized turtles, but there are some larger blue colored ones also. This was a fun stop, but let's see some other great places nearby. I was here a few months ago, around mile marker 86.7. This is a very frightening Bessie the Lobster. The lobster is so 40 feet long and 30 feet tall. It's still a scary sight for those heading south on US 1. Looks like there's some clouds rolling in. I bet this lobster would be good after being cooked and served with 2 gallons of clarified butter. Okay, let's head south to our next destination before this beast attacks me. Now at mile marker 81.5, I've reached Islamorada, and this is a large but simple monument made from coral limestone. This monument is to memorialize the 408 people that were killed in a hurricane that made landfall here on Labor Day in 1935. This hurricane was possibly the strongest to ever hit the U.S., with sustained winds, not gusts, of 185 miles per hour. Although there was a warning that a storm of this magnitude was approaching, there was only one railroad line linking the Keys to the mainland, which also was damaged from the hurricane. In addition to the 185 mile per hour winds, there was a 20-foot storm surge, which means the entire island was flooded over. The hurricane eventually turned north and ravaged most of the western coast of Florida, finally weakening for good when it reached the Big Bend area of Florida. Now the Keys have defined evacuation plans, and there is better technology to track hurricanes and what intensity they'll be. But this monument is for the 408 people that didn't have that luxury. Now at Marathon, right around mile marker 50, this is Tilden's Scuba Center. Also look at this mural of a big green shark. But I'm here to see the world's largest green angelfish. Well, that is a big fish. I'm not sure what the measurements are for this angelfish, but I'm positive the fish will go well either blackened or grilled with the world's largest plate of mixed vegetables. Agree or disagree? This large water creature looks frightening as well because it's so large. And like the giant lobster, it also menaces travelers heading south on US 1. Looking at it in comparison to the parked cars, the fish looks to be about as long as the black SUV. But the fish looks a little bit taller, but not by much. Well, from this angle, the fish is larger than I thought. Either way, it's still a massive fish, so check it out. It's just a little north of the 7 Mile Bridge. Before leaving, I noticed another painted mural. Check out this large octopus. Also, I've heard of snorkeling and scuba, but what is snuba? SNUBA. Leave a comment if you know. Now at the Shady Palm Art Gallery and Frame Shop. I'm not going to go inside the art gallery, but there are a couple of things I wanted to see just outside. There's a fierce shark on the left, and I think you can walk inside the shark, but there's also this dapper looking manatee. He's wearing some bright red pants and a floral shirt. He sure does look like a retiree ready to hit the golf course. The shark looks very fierce, kind of like the shark in the Jaws movies. He's leaping through a big wave, ready to attack. But it looks like there's a way to go behind the shark and probably stick your head out from its mouth. I think there's something similar in the Seas with Nemo and Friends ride in Epcot. So I guess I'll go up this platform and stick my head out the shark's mouth so I can get myself a fun pic. Or is it a sick pic? Which is it, Justin Scard? Wow, that shark's mouth is really big. Half my body sticks out of its mouth. Anyway, fun pic! The shark head is located between mile markers 48 and 49 on US 1. It's worth a 5-minute stop to get your picture taken, I guess. Anyway, just 2 miles down the road is my next stop. And I'm really looking forward to that, so let's head on down there. This has been on my bucket list almost after I left the Keys back in June. This company operates a trolley that takes people from Marathon to Pigeon Key, which is accessible from the old 7-mile bridge. I'm at about mile marker 46 or 47. The old 7-mile bridge can only be accessed by foot, bike, or this trolley, which seats about 20 to 25 people. If you walk or bike and want to enter Pigeon Key, it'll cost $15. If you take this trolley, it costs $25 per person. The trolley company is about half a mile east of the 7-mile bridge, and then we get on this old bridge for about 2 miles. To get to the old bridge, we have to unlock the gate so this trolley can make its way across the bridge. This bridge was shut down to vehicles when the newer 7-mile bridge was opened in 1983. This 2-mile section of the old bridge remained open to pedestrians, bicyclists, and a trolley service until 2016, when the bridge was completely shut down due to structural defects and was replaced with a ferry service. This bridge went through extensive repairs until its reopening in January 2022, which included the new parking area we just drove through. When they resealed the pavement, they created dedicated walking and biking lanes, and you can see there are a few people that will walk the full 2-mile path to Pigeon Key. The structural repairs were pretty significant, but then again, this bridge is over 110 years old. You can see the brand new railings and the concrete pavement was sealed. Look at how beautiful the water is. I think the ocean floor is just a few feet deep, but the color of the water is just amazing this afternoon. I think it would take about half an hour to walk to Pigeon Key, but it will take just a few minutes on this trolley, which takes up the 2 bicycle lanes. Have I mentioned it's a beautiful day today? Getting close to Pigeon Key, we should be there shortly. Pigeon Key was the filming location for the 2003 film Too Fast, Too Furious. The film did not star Vin Diesel, but it did star Paul Walker and had Tyrese Gibson and Ludacris, what would become the Fast and Furious franchise. Paul Walker and Tyrese Gibson did a great sunset scene for Pigeon Key, which I'll show you. There's Pigeon Key down there. Once the trolley drops us off at the island, we'll spend about an hour learning about the history of Pigeon Key and how it relates to the bridge we're on, and when this railroad line connected the Florida East Coast to Key West, built by Henry Flagler. I probably know more about Henry Flagler than most Floridians. The rest of the old bridge is disconnected from Pigeon Key and also the West End, which is now a fishing pier. We've gone off the trolley and we're free to walk around the island and even go into the ocean if we wanted. But there's also a woman that's going to conduct a tour of these buildings, which I think are all about 100 years old. She'll tell us about the history of Pigeon Key and the old 7-mile bridge, and how important that bridge was to connect the very wealthy Key West with the undeveloped jungle of the Florida mainland. This was the last big railroad project undertaken by Henry Flagler, who some called the father of Florida. Flagler was 75 years old when this project started in 1905, and he was in poor health, so his company wanted to have the railroad built all the way down to Key West before he passed away. In order to do that, his team was split into 2 groups, which each worked 12 hours per day. But they completed the railroad all the way down to Key West on January 22nd, 1912, and Henry Flagler, who had since gone blind from cataracts, was on the inaugural train ride. 400 workers lived in temporary accommodations right here on Pigeon Key, building this bridge in front of me, and many others to reach Key West. The workers didn't pay to live here, and each worker earned $1.50 per day. Very hard work for $1.50 a day. The railroad operated until 1935, when a Category 5 hurricane ravaged this area. That's the same hurricane noted on the memorial that I just saw about 40 miles north of here. In addition to the temporary housing that was on the island for all those workers, numerous permanent buildings were constructed starting in 1908. Some were used by the bridge tender crew, and today these buildings are used for marine science classrooms and bunk rooms. You can take a ferry to Pigeon Key, and I think this is the ramp that takes you to that covered area where the ferry docks. The ocean is very beautiful and so clear. I didn't expect any part of Florida to have this beautiful color of water. It's a beautiful day overall this afternoon. The third option to get here is to walk or bike the old bridge. Walking or biking to Pigeon Key is free. However, entry onto the island by ferry, walking, or biking will cost $15, but you can join a guided tour once here. These old pictures of Pigeon Key are from just after World War II. Pigeon Key was used as the Overseas Highway Corporate Center and hosted parties and large gatherings. In the late 1930s, this photo shows the bridge foreman's house with construction of the 7-mile bridge behind it. That's when the bridge was converted from railroad use to automobile usage. On the left is a picture of the old 7-mile bridge under construction with Pigeon Key in the background. On the right is a 7-mile bridge in the 1920s with telegraph lines on the right-hand side. This picture shows the supply transport railbed with Pigeon Key in the background. This shows the 2 sections of the bridge. The one in the foreground shows the thick piers holding up the railroad, and the model behind that shows the arch construction used south of Pigeon Key. This model shows how they constructed the arch sections of the bridge, starting with the piers and then building the framing. On this side is how they built the steel deck plate section of the bridge, starting with the thick concrete piers and then placing the steel beams on top. Then there's where the arch and steel sections meet. This has 5 miles of the bridge is steel decking. Since those miles are the deepest sections of water the bridge had to cross. The tour guide had a great reverence for Henry Flagler and what he meant for the development of Florida. Up here's a photo of what Pigeon Key looked like before the bridge was built, with all the temporary housing for the 400 workers hired to build the old 7-mile bridge. The tour guide mentioned something else while we were there, that the 1980s 7-mile bridge is structurally deficient. Apparently corners were cut when building the bridge, so they'll have to replace it in the early 2030s. The estimated cost of a brand new bridge? About $600 million. The movie Too Fast, Too Furious was filmed here. And this is the spot where Paul Walker and Tyrese Gibson stood as the sun set over the ocean. Here's a couple of stills from that incredible scene. Very emotional with Paul Walker no longer with us. I'm not sure when they took off this segment of the bridge. It had to have been after 1994 when they filmed True Lies on the segment in front of me. And it was done before 2003 when Too Fast, Too Furious was filmed. Today that part of the bridge is unsafe even for pedestrians. And actually the segment of the bridge I'm standing on was recently rehabilitated and reopened in 2022. Another look at this great scene of both 7-mile bridges. On the right from the early 19-teens, and on the left the bridge that was completed 40 years ago that is in service today, but for how much longer? Here's a good view of Pigeon Key from where I'm standing. They definitely keep this island in great shape. When they rehabilitated this old 7-mile bridge to reopen it for pedestrian biking and occasional trolley usage, they also rebuilt this wooden ramp to lead from the island to the bridge. In addition to Too Fast, Too Furious, and True Lies, other films made on either 7-mile bridge include the James Bond movie License to Kill, Mission Impossible 3, and the 2003 film The Haunted Mansion. Over here is a saltwater pool. Once a day, they allow visitors to feed sharks, groupers, snow tarpon, green moray eels, and other animals that live in this pool. Back in the 1950s, this pool was a small tourist attraction where visitors can feed tropical fish. I don't see any fish in the pool right now. There should be some hammerhead sharks and stingrays in here. I bet they will show up once it's feeding time. This covered area is topped with solar panels. I didn't see any power lines out here. I guess this island's only solar power. Now going back inside the Section Gang building. I wanted to go back in here and see these small aquariums. They have many different kinds of aquatic life in those aquariums. This marker says this building's restoration was a gift from Nevi and Paul Mongerson, whom say Pigeon Key and the Florida Keys are unique national treasures. In this aquarium are numerous kinds of shells. It's possible some of these shells are home to snails and other creatures. Here's some small fish and sea anemone. Swimming in and near the small segment of coral. Over here is the gift shop, which was the commissary building, constructed in 1912. Today is still where you can get drinks and snacks. The return trolley is on its way, so I wanted to get some more looks at the two 7-mile bridges. The single looks for a marathon. I can't believe the new 7-mile bridge is structurally deficient and will have to be replaced soon. Meanwhile, the old bridge on the left will probably still be standing after the new bridge is operational. This makes me a little wary about driving on the old 7-mile bridge on the way to Key West. And there's a trolley that will take us back to the Pigeon Key Visitor Center. By the way, the driver of the trolley saw me filming from the bridge and on the wooden ramp and thought those were pretty cool places to get some video of the trolley going by. Hopefully they'll watch this video and let me know how I did. That was a really awesome visit. I learned even more about Henry Flagler and how his vision changed the entire eastern coast of Florida from basically an untamed jungle to an international destination. and he continued to push south so he could connect the very wealthy city of Key West to the Florida mainland. So now we'll take the 10-minute trolley ride back, and then grab some lunch at another spot that was on our bucket list. And here's a reverse angle, looking back at Pigeon Key, and the newer 7-mile bridge in the near distance. I guess in about 10 years, there will be a brand new bridge, and the 1980s bridge over there will be erased from existence. Let's hope the new bridge lasts longer than 40 years. The ocean is so beautiful, not many waves at all, and that turquoise color is amazing. I read an article that said that there are many more bridges through the Keys that have to be replaced. I think they said 32 out of the 47 bridges along US 1 have to be replaced, including the 1980s 7-mile bridge. Hopefully the bridge design has improved, so 40 years from now, they don't have to build an all-new set of bridges. Looks like a couple of small boats out there, and I think there's a boat ramp near the 7-mile bridge parking area. Now also the parking area, there are palm trees in the distance. After that, it's just another half mile back to where we parked, and then we get some lunch. I think they're dropping off a couple of people right here at the parking lot before going back to where the rest of us started. There's a quick look over at roughly where the famous kissing scene in True Lies took place, where Arnold Schwarzenegger and Jamie Lee Curtis kissed during the nuclear warhead detonation. That was a lot of fun. I'm so glad we took the Pigeon Key trolley out to the island, which was so beautiful. I still can't believe they squeezed over 400 men on that small island. Anyway, let's grab some lunch. I'll be getting my lunch at Key's Fishery. This restaurant features sitting at a marina right on the Gulf of Mexico, and they're known for their lobster Reuben, a sandwich with lots of lobster meat topped with sauerkraut and Thousand Island dressing. They have a very large menu, so we'll be getting some other tasty seafood items as well as the Reuben. It's also very busy, as this is a very popular spot in Marathon, and many people have been ordering the lobster Reuben. They also have non-seafood sandwiches and really tasty desserts. Looks like they've sold nearly 400,000 lobster Reubens since the restaurant started selling the Reuben. And you can win one of those Reubens if you guess how many they will sell in the current month. Check out this line. We'll probably be waiting at least 15 or 20 minutes just to have our order taken. But take a look at this funny sign. If you were at Disney World, it would be at least a 2-hour wait. Yeah, that's true. And here are our seats, right on the water. You really can't beat that. The wind isn't picking up, but that's okay, it's warm out. We're starting with this crab and spinach dip. It's not what I expected. I thought the dip would be hot, but this is cold. Here's what the spinach dip looks like on a tortilla chip. I wish I got another order of this. You see this is almost completely crab meat with a little spinach and mayonnaise. Not a lot. Definitely a thumbs up. And here's what else we're having for lunch. This all looks so good, especially that lobster mac and cheese. This is loaded with lobster and cheesy goodness, and topped with some parmesan. We should have gotten 2, and we had to get the lobster Reuben, which came with a side of crispy fries. The bread looks like marble rye. Here's a view of how big the sandwich is. There's a lot of lobster meat, and also a lot of sauerkraut. Not a lot of Thousand Island dressing, which is fine because I don't really like it. I also see a slice of melted Swiss cheese, so there's a lot on the sandwich. The sandwich is so big, I don't think it's gonna fit in my mouth. I was worried this would be too sauced up with Thousand Island dressing, but it looks like just the right amount. Alright, let's get that first bite. I can't get enough of this view. This is a perfect day to enjoy a lunch outdoors in the Florida Keys. I'm giving the lobster Reuben a thumbs up with one issue. Even though there's not a lot of Thousand Island dressing on it, I'm not a fan of the sweet relish that's in the dressing, and it just a little bit takes away from how good the sandwich is. Let's take another look at the Gulf of Mexico view before diving into the lobster mac and cheese. I said earlier I should have gotten two, but this is very rich, very creamy, very cheesy dish. Lots of lobster in it, but it's a very heavy dish, so it's best to share with someone else. I was expecting a tangy cheese, and so I thought the mac and cheese was just okay. But then I had a few more bites and I really enjoyed this. But again, it's a very heavy dish, so what's my final verdict? Too much food. I'm really full right now and we're actually gonna go get Starbucks. But definitely my favorite, even though I said it was like in the video. My favorite was the lobster mac and cheese, just because like the Reuben could have been good if they put like a different sauce on it instead of like Thousand Island, which is usually on a Reuben. But it's like two sweets, and it's just because the lobster has like a sweet flavor and everything, and I'm like, this is just too much. I can't deal with it. The day turned out absolutely beautiful. Lots of people enjoying the day, walking, running, biking, or taking a boat across the water. Alright, let's refilm some of the 7-mile bridge footage, this time exclusively using my GoPro. I was not happy with how the Sony ZV-1 footage came out a few months ago. There's the old 1910s bridge. I'm a little worried about going over this 1980s bridge. Since I learned this bridge wasn't constructed as well as it should have been. Hey, check it out! There's the trolley going on the old bridge. Hopefully when they rebuild this bridge, they'll build it to last. 40 years doesn't seem like a long time for a bridge anymore. Here comes Pigeon Key coming up on the right. What a fantastic visit to the island. So much history, and seeing a couple of filming locations from Too Fast, Too Furious. So awesome. Coming up to about the midpoint of the new 7-mile bridge, and you see it's going uphill. This is also a side point where we go over the channels so large boats can pass under. And here's the old bridge with a gap in it where the old swing bridge used to be, where that awesome True Lies helicopter scene was filmed. My GoPro is filming this bridge so much better than the Sony ZV-1. This is why I changed to primarily using a GoPro, and the picture is just so much better, even with the sun in front of me. Here's a transition from the steel bridge to the concrete arch bridge, and the bush I think is the peace bush. And coming up is Fred the tree, and next to it is Fred Jr. breaking through over the adjacent arch. The old bridge is in pretty rough shape. The railings are rusted and falling apart. I'm not sure if that last bush was the peace bush. Here's another one. And yet another bush growing out of the bridge. I think that's the third or fourth one. Look at that small island all by itself. Looks like there's a house on it, as well as a boat dock. It must be powered by solar, as I don't see any power lines going out there. Now we're at mile marker 3. The old bridge in the distance is the old Bahia Honda bridge. It was the most difficult of the 1910s bridges to construct. In 1972, the state of Florida constructed these replacement bridges. They carry 4 lanes of traffic now. But take a look at the old bridge, very narrow, it's falling apart, and when they converted this bridge from a railroad line to an automobile traffic in the late 1930s, the road was built on top of the original bridge structure. On the old road bed, looking directly at the old bridge, this road is disconnected from where I'm standing, and also look to the bottom right, the piping is cut as well. You can kind of tell where the road used to be, but now it's being returned to nature. Lots of brush has taken over. As for the bridge, it's unsafe to go underneath that part of the bridge still standing. There's debris constantly falling from the bridge, and it's been battered by many hurricanes since the bridge was built over 110 years ago. Nearby Bahia Honda State Park has the best beaches in all of the Keys, with fantastic white sandy beaches and very shallow water. Now I've returned to the Blue Hole. This is off mile marker 31. Turn right at the Winn-Dixie and head north about 3 miles. Then it's on the left. Since the sky is blue, I'm hoping the Blue Hole will look, well, blue. And sure enough, the water looks blue. I had a little time before the sun went down, so I wanted to see if a clear sky actually makes this water look blue. Look at this gator looking up at us on the viewing platform. The gator looks pretty fierce, and the signs all over the place are not kidding about the gators. Oh wow, there's another one over here right by this viewing platform. I wonder if the gators heard us and the other visitors and swam over here. There's the other gator that we saw earlier. From a different viewing platform, the Blue Hole is a very nice shade of blue today. The water itself is pretty murky, but it reflects the blue color of the sky, amplifies the blue, and the water appears to be a deep blue color. Last time I was here, the skies were overcast, so the lake was a brownish color. But with no clouds in the sky, the water really picks up the blue color. I mentioned this in a previous video, the Blue Hole is the largest freshwater lake in the Keys. What I didn't know is that the lake was man-made. During construction of US 1, they mined rock used to build the road. After the road was completed, the freshwater in the lake became the primary source of water for plant and animal life in Big Pine Key. This poison wood is a critical food source for the pigeons that live here, but it could actually be fatal to humans. Now making my way out, the sunset is in about an hour, so the key deer have started to come out to graze on leaves and grass. And that's it. I'm glad I spent a little more time at these locations in the Keys. I'll be in the Keys for a few days, and I want to see some different things than I did in late May. One of the things I missed was the famous Mallory Square sunset. It was a little too cloudy during my last visit, so let's hope for a good sunset this time. But for now, I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye! Say bye? Oh. You taste chicken? Oh. Save me. Oh.